Hey everyone, this is Hiroton Mai 2011. Welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Slowdown, Twilight Princess. In the last episode, we made it towards Hyrule Castle, the exterior, and we discovered the truth behind King Bulbin and his reasons for, attacking us at the beginning of the game. In this episode, we climb up Hyrule Castle and hopefully make it up to Ganondorf. Now, remember before when I said that, Hyrule Castle is honestly really impressive for the GameCube because it just shows what the GameCube was capable of. Yeah, you see all this, lag on the video. That isn't my game capture. That's the game. Yeah, I want to actually get into this because I believe I spoke about this at the beginning of the LP. I can't remember because it was all, a long time ago. But, the one thing that's bad about the GameCube version, despite this being the version that was made first and then ported to the Wii later, because this was literally the last GameCube game ever made, this is the point of the game where it shows. Like, it's really impressive that they got this area to be this big and run on the GameCube, but oh my god, it goes from a steady 60 frames per second to like a good like 12. And it hasn't been this bad since, like, you know, Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie, or even Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64. And, you know, at least I gotta praise the Wii version for that, for having a consistent 60 frames per second. Mostly just because, you know, Twilight Princess wasn't really pushing the Wii, unlike the GameCube version. And yeah, if you play on a Dolphin emulator, if you have a strong enough computer, the GameCube version of Twilight Princess runs as smoothly as the Wii version. Which, by the way, I want to get into something later, but I'll talk about it probably in the bonus video. Well, more extensively, I mean. But, yeah, I'm trying to get a treasure chest up here, but for the life of me, I don't know how to make it spawn. But it's just rupees, so overall, I just said it's not worth it, and I leave it. But, yeah, this area right here, it just shows why people bought the Wii version. It's not just because the GameCube version was honestly kind of rare, because like I told you, for some reason, nobody I know on YouTube besides NCS owns the GameCube version, and I was lucky enough to just get 2 copies of this game for myself. So I'm, like, really worried about, like, if this version of the game breaks. Yeah, I'm getting the HD version, but I like having the GameCube version, because apparently it's rare, because everyone I know owns the Wii version of this. And, you know, I'm not saying the Wii version's bad, it's just, I like the GameCube controls, and, you know, I kind of have the whole OCD about Link's left-handed. I don't like when you switch his dexterity. Hell, I was even bothered when they showed, you know, the Zelda, HD experience for Wii U back on, E3 2013, and Link was right-handed in that one, even though it was Twilight Princess. I'm just like, no, he's left-handed! But, in any case, over here we have another fight with the Dark Nut, and unlike Temple of Time, there's only 2 mighty Dark Nuts in the entire game. The one in the Temple of Time and one near the end of the dungeon, believe it or not. Every Dark Nut you fight in this game, including Mario and Luigi at the end of the Cave Ordeals, are just regular Dark Nuts. So, even though they played the boss fight for this music, yeah, this guy's just a regular Dark Nut. So, I kind of don't understand why he gets the mini-boss music. Especially since the ones we fight later on, spoiler, don't have it. Also, I just kind of hard-bodied his sword there. Link has more power than I thought. But, yeah, something I want to get into as we're going through this dungeon is that a lot of people say that this game is basically a rehash of Ocarina of Time. That if you played Ocarina of Time, you're going to notice that this game either takes elements from it or outright steals elements from it. I see it, especially after I recently, well, not recently, I beat it like 3 years ago, but, well, wow, it's like 5 years ago now that it's 2016, but about 5 years ago I beat Ocarina of Time 3D because I played the original and I did not like it, but I played the remake and I absolutely loved it. But, oh yeah, and this puzzle is obnoxious because you have to light up the torches in order to get some of the stairs to go up, but you actually have to blow out one of them for you to have an entire staircase, and it's honestly a very, very weird puzzle. But, people say that this game is basically either ripping off Ocarina of Time, or it's Ocarina of it tries to be Ocarina of Time instead of being its own thing. I honestly think this game is Ocarina of Time realized, because something that I've noticed with the Zelda games is that because of the whole split timeline thing and everything, it's kind of history repeating itself, but in a different continuity. And before I get into that, something I gotta point out here, there are two ways you can go, which I pointed this out at the beginning of the last episode, and by the way, it's a cameo of the Big Goron sword. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah. I pointed this out in the last episode, or the last part of this dungeon, that this dungeon is very free on what you can do, because unless you're going for everything, you basically have, you can do either the right or the left side, which I believe is basically a throwback to A Link to the Past, where you had the left or right side of Ganon's tower, which I really like. Essentially, the door that I'm going through right now is hard mode, because hard mode, it starts off relatively easy because all you have to do is defeat these two Lizafos, but at the end of you have to defeat these two Lizafos. However, the door's still locked, so you have to use the bow and arrow, to reveal a switch behind these paintings. The thing is, press the wrong switch and all these chew jellies come out. You can refill your bottle by doing this, sure, but it's mostly just there to waste your goddamn time. Thing is, for the life of me, I don't know what the right one was, so I kind of just hit them at random. But in hindsight, I think your cue was that all of the incorrect pictures were the same thing, and the one that you had to hit was the only one that was different. But I don't know off the top of my head, because I think I hit this one, and it's the right one. Yeah, it was that the picture that was the different one was the one that you had to hit. But essentially, this is the hard room, because it starts off relatively easy by just defeating two Lizafos, but then you have to find the right switch, and then you gotta fight two Dark Nuts. So, this is hard route. At the end of hard route, you essentially come towards two rewards at the end of hard route, and you'll see what they are as soon as I beat these. But I might as well go back in my Ocarina of Time tangent while we're waiting on this. History tends to repeat itself when it comes to Zelda games, and I've noticed that as a normal trend as I've, been in the series for quite some time, especially with, the release of A Link Between Worlds 2 years ago. Jeez, it's been 2 years since that game came out. No, like, almost 3 years, actually. But, yeah. With the release of Link Between Worlds, how essentially it's, A Link to the Past kind of repeating itself, and it's A Link to the Past repeating itself. And essentially, but with a new protagonist, a new twist on the story, instead of the Dark World as an alternate universe and all that. And really, when you think about it, with the Zelda formula, everything's been copying. Ocarina of Time also copied A Link to the Past. It's basically Link to the Past 3D. Kind of in the same sense that Metal Gear Solid is just basically a 3D remake of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. So, because you have... you have Link finding these 3 MacGuffins to go and wield the Master Sword, and then he has to go to all these sanctuaries and find the other 7 MacGuffins so that he can go finally defeat Ganon. And it seems very similar in hindsight. And then you go to Twilight Princess, and then essentially Twilight Princess is a carbon copy of that for the most part, where you find the 3 MacGuffins, you find out that's not... You're not finished. You have to go to different temples and get the other MacGuffins, and then you have to fight the not Ganondorf, and then fight Ganondorf at the end. And then there's Skyward Sword, where it kind of does that, but it does it threefold, where you have the 3 MacGuffins. Then you have to find out that, oh, so yeah, you found Zelda, but not really. So then you have to do the other 3 MacGuffins to make the Master Sword stronger. And then you find Zelda, and then you have to get the other 3 MacGuffins to get the Triforce, and then you can actually fight Demise. And then, A Link Between Worlds kind of does that too, but you can choose wherever you want to go. So before I continue also, essentially doing the hard routes reward, which by the way, they could have totally been dicks and put the 2 Death Hammers in there too, because you saw those statues standing next to the doors. Your reward for doing the hard room is essentially just a purple rupee, but if you go outside, it leads straight into the plot, and you can, do a beeline straight for Ganondorf. However, now I'm doing the easy room. This, for the life of me, I did not know how to do when I was a kid, but it's honestly relatively simple. It's a dark room where, your first indication is just to light up the room. Now, there's no switch, even though I just used my my bow and arrow to get rid of that painting. Yeah, because pro strats. But essentially, what you have to do is activate these switches in the right order, and I'm royally messing up because again, I can't tell which order they mean because I'm trying to follow the guide where it says you do the one at the bottom, but I did know that they meant the one that's literally right next to it. So this is going to take me a few other tries. But yeah, a lot of the 3D Zeldas tend to repeat itself because I think the only one that was original in that sense was Wind Waker. Although it does, at the very beginning, it does kind of follow the 3 MacGuffin rule. And hell, kind of, Phantom Hourglass and to an extent, no, not even. Phantom Hourglass also follows the 3 MacGuffin rule at first, and then it does the 3 MacGuffin rule again. I think the only one that was original in that sense is Spirit Tracks because it was basically just going to every area and then you go to the new area. But now we finally finished that puzzle. But yeah, in the sense that this game is basically Ocarina of Time 2.0, I feel that this game is Ocarina of Time realized. That it's what they wanted to do with Ocarina of Time, and it also shows because, like I said, they finally were able to implement, having the Temple of Time be a dungeon. They were finally able to put, an ice-themed dungeon into the game without it being a mini-dungeon and all that. And, while I'm not a fan of having Ganondorf be the antagonist at the last moment, you're going to see his fight actually is pretty damn cool. So even though it wasn't needed, they did their best with what they gave us. And by the way, here's the enemy of the the easy room, just 2 Dinofulls. Yeah, they're harder than the Lizafulls, but it's still a better payoff than doing that weird puzzle, fighting 2 Lizafulls and then fighting 2 Darknuts. The thing is, by doing the easy room, you don't go to plot pretty much. It actually leads to the extra small key that I was talking about. Going out on the inside here, you don't get a reward. However, you press the switch over here, and it drops a chandelier, so you can get you have a shortcut up here easier should you ever want to leave the dungeon and come back. So that's a nice payoff, if anything. So now going outside, like I said, it's one of the main reasons why I do love this game, though, because honestly, like I said, not knocking Ocarina of Time, but I honestly feel the remake of Ocarina of Time was better, and on top of that, too, I feel this game was Ocarina of Time realized. Ironic, considering Twilight Princess Link is carrying on the living legacy of Ocarina of Time Link. So, since this is the incorrect way, you may be wondering what's on the other side. Well, yeah, we got a mini-boss fight. Guess who? Thing is, with this one, because he doesn't have his helmet, he's piss easy. All you have to do is the same thing you did last time, just wait for him to raise up his shield and try to charge attack you, and just drag him down with your claw shot, and then go to town on him with helm splitters and all that. So with that being said, we're getting near the end of the game, and I've completely talked over the Hyrule Castle music since we're outside, but I should point this out now. I love the Hyrule Castle theme in this game. Yeah, it starts off as kind of just a creepy, ambiotic version of, the Link to the Past theme, and I can't believe I didn't fall off there. But the fact that it just segues into Ganondorf's theme, too, it's just so cool. Yeah, I love the fact that it's quiet when you're outside the castle, but I really love the music inside, how it's just basically like the standard Hyrule Castle music, just a little bit creepy, and then it just segues into Ganondorf's theme. It just leaves such this impending air of doom, and I love it so much. But now that we have 2 small keys, we could go beeline towards the plot. However, we don't have the boss key. So, why don't we go the correct way this time and see if we can find the boss key? And sure enough, it's on the other side. However, a little late to the party, but our friends have finally made it, and they pretty much KO'd everyone there. So, over here we have the boss key. I really like that cutscene, by the way, even though it took forever for them to have honest-to-God relevance at the end of the story, because again, they do sprinkle them here and there in the plot, but honestly, a lot of them are kind of unneeded, and I do wish they did get a bit more character development. It's a bit too much to ask for Twilight Princess HD, but, you know, a man can dream. But we now have the small key and the big key, so let's head inside the door. And prepare yourself for some even cooler version of this this Hyrule Castle music. First thing you want to do in this room, turn into a wolf immediately. For two reasons. One, you have the ghost mice that are gonna come and make you have a bad time. And yeah, I messed up there. So there's that. Plus, this room, any tile that you step on is going to fall into the floor, and you have absolutely no time to react to that. So you have to turn into a wolf, and the ghost soldiers are going to show you the right way to go. As you saw, that tile that I was about to step on was going to fall into the abyss in basically like literally 2 seconds. So the rest of the room is basically just a giant walk up to there where, yeah, you're going to mostly be using your claw shot and your, believe it or not, the spinner to get up here. But this is what I was talking about, how I love the way that this song is. Not only is the song getting more, like, impending as it's going on, but I love how this variation of the song, you can hear it slowly stop being the Hyrule Castle theme and just segue into Ganondorf's theme to the point where Ganondorf's theme just drowns it out. Not only, it reminds me a lot of, the Sonic Generations version of the Death Egg robot, how it starts off as an orchestrated version of the Sonic 2 final boss theme, and as you slowly start to beat it, they start adding more drums and guitar in the background. So it's basically Sonic's version of the song's overpowering Eggman's version of it, because basically the way that Sonic works is that Sonic, at least when it comes to modern Sonic and to an extent classic Sonic, they're portrayed with rock and roll. And Eggman is portrayed by either techno or orchestra. So I really, really love how, you know, their two songs clash and they overpower each other as they keep going. And I love how we're up to where Ganondorf is, and you can hear, and you can essentially hear that, you know, Ganondorf's song is overpowering Hyrule Castle. But yeah, here's our final opponent before we get up to Ganondorf, the mighty Darknut. And unfortunately, he's a joke. Despite him being Mighty Darknut, meaning he's, you know, one of the leaders, he doesn't have any extra health or anything. He's basically just, he's just a garish gold variation of the Darknuts. Nothing special, really. But if you want to have that epic encounter that the Darknuts have with Link on, you know, the official art of Twilight Princess, well, here you go. You have the final climactic battle, except there's only one of them. Which I guess, in the context of that artwork for Twilight Princess, I guess that was Link inside the Cave of Ordeal, since that's the only place where more than two Darknuts show up. But yeah, like, he's almost defeated. This is kind of a pathetic last stand, don't you think, Ganondorf? So we poke him 8 times. That's kind of the rule of thumb with these Darknuts at this point. So yeah, I just do this, and he's done. So we could go to the final boss right away, but what's that extra key for him? By the way, he drops an orange rupee, so really helpful if you're planning on using the magic armor at the end. We used that small key we got earlier, and guess what? We are now in the Room of Rewards. This room has every single item and rupee in the game. If you want to do one more final stock up before Ganondorf, here's your chance. Literally every single chest in this room, including the pots, all have items from the game. You can stock up on every single item, even the goddamn slingshot if you want. This, honestly, while I personally don't find it as rewarding as it should be, because we're at the end of the game and we don't really need money, if you're planning on using magic armor against Ganondorf, I'm not, but if you plan on doing it, this is really helpful. And yeah, just the fact that, like, you know, if you're planning on tackling the Cave of Ordeals now, like, if you want to take a break before fighting Ganondorf and just go to the Cave of Ordeals and tackle it now, this is definitely a great place to stock up too. I definitely recommend doing something like that, where just come here, stock up on items, then go to the Cave of Ordeals and come back. It's definitely a viable strategy when you really think about it, and I really do like that they reward you, for the most part, for, doing everything in the dungeon. While I would have liked something like maybe a stronger sword, because you do see the cameo of the Bigoron sword, and I do wish that, if this game was going to be Ocarina of Time 2.0, they did keep something like Bigoron's sword. Hell, I miss, like, having something like the Mirror Shield, even though it's kind of irrelevant here. I kind of wish it was something more than just a restock room, but the restock room, honestly, is a nice gesture at the very least. But, I'm waiting for the thing where, it's literally just, green rupee, which that caps off everything pretty much. Oh, blue rupee. Okay, I guess we end it where we all started with the blue rupee. But we go through these doors and it's finally time. Behind those big doors is Zelda and Ganondorf. Time to save Hyrule, guys. But we'll do that in the next episode. See you then.